Welcome to World's Airport Hub. In this explainer, we're going to dive right into the unprecedented explosion of new airports across India and look at how this massive infrastructure push is just fundamentally transforming the nation's skies and cities. We aren't just talking about a few new runways here and there. Nope. We're looking at a complete reimagining of urban planning, real estate, and economic corridors. Honestly, it's one of the most ambitious logistical shifts happening anywhere on the globe right now.
Think about it. Airports are no longer just places to grab a coffee and catch a flight. They've become some of the absolute strongest catalysts for real estate and economic growth. We're looking at a historic expansion toward a projected 400 airports, which is quite literally ripping up the traditional rulebook for urban planning and logistics. By turning these transport nodes into massive hubs of commerce and daily living, entire ecosystems are being birthed right from the ground up. It's a really fascinating pivot, going from treating airports as just, necessary infrastructure to treating them as primary engines of wealth creation.
So here's our flight map for today. We'll start with the great aviation boom, then move into the rise of the aerotropolis. After that, we'll check out the Delhi and Mumbai mega hubs, look at how this is fueling industrial smart cities, and finally, we'll wrap up with Vision 2047, a trillion-dollar flight. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the great aviation boom, scaling to new heights. To really grasp what's happening here, we have to pause and look at the sheer, jaw-dropping scale of this expansion. It's a story of pure acceleration.
Get this, India has grown from having just 74 airports back in 2014 to a massive 163 operational airports today in 2025. Just let that sink in for a second. In roughly a decade, they've more than doubled their entire aviation footprint. That kind of hyper-growth has cemented India's position as the world's third-largest domestic aviation market. For the rest of the globe, this means airlines and aerospace manufacturers are having to entirely recalibrate their strategies just to keep pace with this booming demand.
But here's where it gets truly staggering. The government is aiming to push this network to between 350 and 400 airports by 2047. That's more than double where we're at right now. It's a relentless push for regional connectivity. The goal is to ensure millions of citizens in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities are brought into the aviation fold through initiatives like UDAN. We're talking about connecting remote geographies and turning what used to be multi-day train journeys into short, affordable flights. It's permanently altering the economic geography of the whole country.
Which brings us to Section 2, Rise of the Aerotropolis, Airports as Destinations. As we zoom in a bit, it becomes clear that these massive new investments aren't just transit hubs where you check a bag and leave.
The crucial thing to understand here is the concept of the aerotropolis. Basically, think of an aerotropolis as a city turned inside out. Instead of the airport sitting way out on the outskirts of town, the airport is the downtown. It's a metropolitan subregion where the infrastructure, the land use, and the economy are entirely centered around an airport, forming an airport city. These are self-sustaining ecosystems that integrate living, working, and leisure right at the edge of the runway. You could practically eliminate the need to ever commute into a traditional urban core.
The economic catalyst effect of these hubs is just wild. The numbers are simply astonishing. Micro-markets right near major airports are seeing property price appreciations that vastly outperform citywide averages. We're seeing apartment prices jump an incredible 69 to 90%, and plotted developments, they've appreciated by 84 to 118%. High-growth zones like the Yamuna Expressway near Delhi and Panvel near Mumbai are driving massive demand for Grade A offices, integrated townships, and luxury retail clusters. It's an unprecedented return for investors, and it represents a massive shift in where communities actually want to put down roots.
Moving right along to Section 3, Delhi and Mumbai mega hubs, the twin and three airport systems. Let's look at how India's biggest metropolitan areas are totally restructuring to handle this unprecedented 10 to 12% annual passenger traffic growth.
To handle this immense load, major regions are moving to sophisticated twin or three airport systems. This breaks that long-standing and honestly pretty unsustainable dependency on a single monocentric hub. Delhi NCR, for example, is transitioning into a robust three-airport system, adding Noida International alongside IGI and Hindon. Meanwhile, Mumbai and Goa are activating twin airport systems to meet their surging capacity demands. By spreading the load out, these megacities can drastically reduce bottlenecks, minimize delays, and allow for much smoother passenger and cargo flows.
A prime example of this strategy in action is the Noida International Airport at Jewar. This facility is deliberately designed to serve the rapidly expanding eastern corridor of the National Capital Region. For years, the single main hub in Delhi was under immense strain from all this regional growth.
Well, the Jewar project alleviates that bottleneck. It takes raw land and transforms it into a world-class gateway that redistributes traffic and pulls economic development toward an entirely new geographic corridor.
Now, a massive project like this scales intelligently across 4 phases so it doesn't overburden the initial infrastructure. It starts with 12 million passengers in Phase 1, but let's look further down the line. It eventually expands to an incredible 70 million passengers by Phase 4 in 2050. To put 70 million passengers into perspective, that rivals some of the busiest, most established global hubs on the planet today. And it's all being built from the ground up to include a fully functioning aerotropolis.
And just to prove this isn't only about airplanes, imagine stepping off a flight and walking directly into a seamless transport network. They're building a 72-kilometer high-speed rail link and elevated road corridors that physically weave the airport straight into the wider city framework. By linking it directly to arteries like the Delhi Mumbai Expressway, it ensures that whether you're a passenger or a piece of high-priority freight, your journey doesn't stop at the terminal. It connects you directly to the entire nation.
Down in Mumbai, the DB Patil International Airport in Navi Mumbai is just as ambitious. It features this gorgeous lotus-inspired design by Zaha Hadid, and it's set to launch its first phase in September 2025. It actually has plans to handle up to 90 million passengers annually within a decade. Think about that for a second. 90 million. That's nearly the entire population of Germany passing through its gates every single year. It's an awe-inspiring architectural and logistical achievement perfectly designed to future-proof Mumbai's connectivity.
Now, moving beyond just moving people, let's explore Section 4, fueling industrial smart cities beyond passenger travel. Because, these mega projects are a lot more than just transit hubs. They're the primary engines for new industrial corridors and major foreign investment.
A lot of this is enabled by the Greenfield Airports policy. Basically, it's a framework for building new airports on completely unused land through public-private partnerships. And this is a massive game changer for India. Building entirely from scratch completely avoids the messy congestion, the land acquisition battles, and those logistical nightmares of trying to expand old city airports. Thanks to this policy, projects like Bhogapuram Airport in Andhra Pradesh are successfully taking shape on open land, perfectly positioned to spur regional business growth and serve highly efficient, dedicated freight movement.
Take a look at Gujarat's Noida International Airport, for instance, to see how this actively builds a global supply chain. By slashing the time to market, it makes industrial plots in the massive Noida smart city highly sought-after real estate. It's specifically attracting high-value foreign direct investment from the US, Europe, and Asia for fragile, time-sensitive industries. Things like semiconductor manufacturing and aerospace components. I mean, when you're shipping microchips or critical tech, you need a runway right next to your factory, right? Well, this ecosystem supports exactly that, alongside massive new logistics parks. Finally, to wrap things up, we need to zoom back out for Section 5, Vision 2047, a trillion-dollar flight, and take a look at the grand economic ripple effect of this entire strategy.
The International Civil Aviation Organization notes that for every single rupee spent, the sector generates over 3 times the economic value. This multiplier effect is stunning, especially when we look at job creation. Today, aviation in India supports about 369,000 direct jobs and 7.7 million indirect jobs. But check this out, by 2047, that total is expected to support an absolutely monumental 25 million jobs. We're talking about lifting entire generations into the workforce, fueled entirely by the ecosystem of flight. So clearly, this isn't just about making it easier to take a vacation. This relentless push for inclusive mobility, digital airways, and regional connectivity is a foundational pillar for India's journey toward becoming a developed $10 trillion economy. It heavily empowers the nation's broader Viksit Bharat vision for 2047, proving that modern infrastructure is the absolute bedrock of rapid nationwide economic elevation.
Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating final thought. As aviation completely reshapes the very ground we live on and drives these massive economic multipliers, are we moving toward a future where our cities are designed entirely around the runway? It's definitely something to think about the next time you book a flight.